Hello, everybody. Welcome to this podcast. My name is Tim. If you don't know who I am, I run a brand on Twitter, and basically what I do is I partner up with various businesses to help them attract more organic leads. I also run a newsletter, which you should definitely check out. But this podcast is not about me. This podcast is about our guest today, which is Esther. How about you introduce yourself?
Hey guys, I'm Esther, as you may know, and I've been now on Twitter for 6 months, and I help creators on Twitter grow their personal brand and write content. And yeah, I've been doing this for 6 months, and recently I just launched my very own community, so that has been like a huge uh, thing for me, a huge launch, and it's going amazing so far.
Nice. Okay, we'll definitely talk about that later. I want to ask you beforehand, though. You're 19 years old, right? Or 18, 19?
Yeah,
19 years old.
19.
Which is crazy that you got started this early. You're having this success. I want to ask you why you got started in the first place and how that process went for you. So take us through that journey.
Yeah. My entrepreneurial journey dates back to when I was like 16 years old, and I was trying to already make money online. I was trying to pursue different online businesses. I tried nearly everything that was out there, like drop shipping, theme pages, social media growth, and trading and Etsy, like all of these online businesses that people were promoting online. I was trying to try them all and make some type of income from that. But I failed at all of them, and for 3 years I didn't make a single penny doing any of that. But then in 2023, yeah, last year I started working as a barista in a cafe, and simultaneously I was going to school, and my days looked extremely draining. Every day I would wake up at 7 a.m., go to school, finish school at 3 p.m., and immediately after school I would go to my work, and I would work for like until like 11 p.m. And that was like my
Okay.
daily life for 5 months. And I would arrive home at nearly midnight, and I would go straight to bed. I didn't have any
Mm.
time to do any of the things that I wanted. Like, I didn't have any time for myself. And that continued for 5 months. And then I just started burning out. I realized that this is not the life that I want to build for myself. I was only 19. I mean, no, 18. I was 18 at the time, and I was already not satisfied with my life. I felt like every day was the same, and I was just wasting away my potential.
Mm.
And because of my past failures, past failing businesses in the past, I was a bit like lost and hopeless about like the next steps to take. I was basically wondering, how do I get myself out of this situation? How can I build a life where I no longer have to be a slave to anyone, and I can create a life on my own terms, and I can create a business that I can run online and that is profitable. So 5 months down the line, I quit my job, and I told them basically I'm not coming back. I had no clue what I was doing at the time, and I was slaving for 3 euros an hour. But I knew one thing for sure. I was like, I'm gonna try something online that I've never done before. And I was like,
Mm.
this is like my last chance to make it work. Otherwise, like, this is gonna be such a failure, and I'll have to go back to working a 9 to 5 or like working as a barista. So I basically told myself this is my last chance. Like, I had to make this work. There are no excuses, and I was absolutely fed up with my life situation.
Mm.
So that's when I started first writing online. I discovered Twitter completely on accident, like watching videos on YouTube. Somebody mentioned like you can do copywriting and you can then promote your services on Twitter. And about a month or two later, after I quit my job, I started writing online. I started writing on Twitter. I had no clue where I was heading. I had no
Mm.
clue what I wanted to do. I was like, what even is a personal brand? I want to do copywriting. Like, let me try copywriting. But then after the first 30 days, I saw pretty great growth. Like the first 30 days were terrible, but like after those first 30 days, like I started
Mm,
seeing great growth, and I realized I'm actually getting great at this like personal brand thing. So how about I just double down on what's working and I continue giving it my all? And that's when I basically started taking it seriously and I started seeing serious results. Like I started signing clients, I started seeing better growth with my account, and by then, by like end of May, I had already made back like 5 times more what I earned in my barista job, like 9 to 5 job.
nice.
I made like 5 times more on Twitter that month, and that's when I realized that this is potentially going to change the
Mm,
direction of my like life going forward. So that's when I gave it my all, and I just said, I'm not going to university. I'm going all
yeah,
in on my business. So yeah, most people my age are now in university, but I'm just running my business from wherever I decide, and honestly, it has never been better. It's the best
that's the
decision I've
life. Cool. So it was basically on accident, some YouTube video that got you to start posting on X. Okay, cool. Similar for me, like one day this Stan Co video got like recommended on my YouTube feed, and that's when I knew like I gotta start this Twitter thing. Very cool. Well, yeah, obviously your growth and your especially your business growth has been very impressive. Like 6 months on this platform, and you're like you've been banned once with like 2,000 something followers, and now you're back to like 1.6K or something, 1.4K.
made.
Um,
Yeah.
very impressive. You've served over 18 clients, and I want to ask you, what do you think is the thing that most people get wrong when it comes to building authority and signing clients through Twitter?
Hmm. I think that most people are afraid of just putting themselves out there, and they're afraid of public failure. They're afraid that they will be judged, so therefore they never put themselves out
Mm,
there. They never promote their offer. They never DM that ideal client. They never send a single cold DM. They're so scared of failure. They're so scared of judgment. And they're scared because they think they have so much to lose. But the reality is that most people who are trying to sign clients, they already are starting from the like the bottom, like zero. So you have nothing to lose.
mm,
And that's why I think a lot of people should really put themselves out there and not be afraid of promoting their services or giving some value up front for prospects before signing them as paying
yes.
clients. And I think that like giving free value up front is also like a huge one. Most
Mm,
people, they just want to charge for like whatever they put out, like any word they put out, they want to charge for that. Like
yeah.
nobody is willing to go the extra mile to sign clients, and nobody is willing to actually put in the hard work. And by not putting yourself out there and by thinking about, oh, what others think of me, you're only sabotaging yourself. Because I was the same. And in the beginning, I was like, I am so scared to put myself out there, and I am so scared to like even show my pictures. I don't know. Like I was so afraid of judgment. And for the first 30 days, I would just not promote myself. I would not put my face out there. I would not post any stories about my life because I felt like, oh, what if people like judge me for this story? But guess what? When I posted my first ever story, so many people resonated with that. And
Mm,
from there on, I was able to see so much success with my content. So many people started supporting my content. And that way, I grew a very loyal fan base because I overcame the fear of judgment. And I said, you know what? This is me and this is who I am. You either choose to accept it or not. And
mm,
turns out that was the best thing I ever did for my brand, because after that, people saw my stories and they said, actually, I want to pay you to learn how I can write my stories just like that. So then your pain can turn into your advantage, so to speak. And that is like one thing, one limiting belief that I had, and I believe that still a lot of people have it, and it's
Yes.
just the fear of judgment, and it's just overcoming the fear of failure, because I keep preaching this a lot in my posts. The more you fail, the more you succeed, or the faster you fail, the faster you succeed.
Exactly.
And a lot of people are not willing to face rejections. A lot of people are not willing to face like flopping posts. But guess what? That is the only way that you get better. And you always get feedback, and feedback only improves you. And feedback is the best thing that you could ask for or seek, especially when you're starting out or trying to sign your clients.
Definitely.
And yeah, when it comes down to authority building, I think a lot of people struggle to build authority because they have an imposter syndrome, and they think that the results they have are small, that they're not impressive, and that they, shouldn't be like pretty much talked about. But the reality is, your results that may seem small to you, they may be big to somebody else. They may be impressive to people a few steps behind you. And I was myself like that. Like I was like that. I had an imposter syndrome at sometimes, and I realized that, you know what, I should actually take pride in the results I've got for myself. And when I realized that, a lot of people can actually learn from me, learn from my achievements, which don't look that big to me. They're big to those starting out. And that's when I realized that, you know what, how about I just talk about the best results that I have, try to educate my audience on that, and see who I can help and see who benefits from that. And it is really just acknowledging and not taking your results for granted, because it is also related to your mindset, like some type of limiting belief that you're
Yeah.
not good enough or that your results aren't good enough. Because I think that stems from a place of comparison, and oftentimes
Oh
on
yeah.
Twitter,
Totally.
Twitter can be a very competitive space, and a lot of
Yeah.
creators, they see others winning, they see like big creators signing like 5-figure deals, and they feel like left out, or they feel like they're failing, or they feel like they're growing so slow. But you should never compare yourself to others. You should only compare yourself to yourself, who you were in the past and the type of person you were a couple of months back. And when I made that mindset shift, it became so much easier for me to talk about my results and actually educate my audience on that. And when I started educating my audience on the things that I'm the best at, on the things that I've I've done like multiple times over, like I've grown my account for the second time over, and I'm seeing great growth, and I just show people that I know what I'm talking about. And you should always think about the ways you can educate your audience on your skill set, because if you don't educate your audience, what is the whole point of your account? Like, is it some influencer profile? Is
Yeah.
it like something else? Like, your audience should benefit you, and they should benefit after reading your posts. So yeah, that's really what it comes down to: building authority, and really understand your unique positioning. Like, why should people listen to you, and why should people buy from you?
Yep.
And I think that is a pretty harsh question to ask yourself at
Oh,
first, but
totally.
once you start thinking about it, that's when you realize that, oh, maybe people shouldn't listen to me because I don't have those results. But at the same time, once you realize that, okay, now now I know what to do next. Like, now
Yep.
I know that I need to generate those results so that I can get that authority. And when I asked myself this question, yeah, I thought like, what an intimidating question at first. But then I started thinking about it, and then I realized that, okay, what does this question really come down to is your unique story. And your unique story is not only the achievements you've had on Twitter, it's also what are the things that you have achieved in your life in general? What are the things that you have achieved before starting this business that have attributed to your success with your account, for example? And that's when I realized that, you know what, I actually have more value than I thought in the beginning, because I now ask myself this question and it made me aware of so many things that only make me unique and only add more value to my services, to my clients, and to my profile. And this is a pretty harsh question to ask, but
Mhm.
once you ask yourself that, like, your whole perception about building online is going to change forever. And once you understand your unique selling point, you also never feel like you have to compete with anyone, because you know
Mm.
your worth, and you know that your story is worth, like, a lot. Like, people would be willing to pay a lot of money just to be in your shoes, just to
Yep.
learn the knowledge that you have. So find ways to leverage your story, your unique background, and really think about the things that, like, why should people buy from you and why should people trust you? Because I feel like a lot of creators, they feel entitled. They come on this app, they're like,
Mm.
yeah, why have I not signed any
Yeah.
clients? I'm supposed to have a client. Why should you have a client? Like, ask yourself
Exactly.
that. Like, are you really that competent?
Cool. Awesome.
So, yeah.
Okay, thanks for those actionable questions first off. And I love that you mentioned those mindset things first, because tactics or even strategies, they won't really help you if, up here the things it you don't have your mindsets right. So definitely very cool that you mentioned that. Didn't expect that, but thank you for that answer. Um, you talked about stories and other types of content. I'm very interested in your content strategy because I've been scrolling through your content. I've obviously been noticing patterns, but your content is popping off. It's performing really, really well. So I want to ask you, what is the thought process behind your content strategy? What types of content do you post, and how do you go about writing those?
Oh, wow. Love this question. Um, my content strategy right now, I just stick to posting like maybe once or twice a day. And I just ensure that whatever I post that day, it's educational and extremely actionable, so that I'm providing some type of value or insight coming from my own experience. And it is the easiest for me to think about content ideas when I think about the results I have got for myself, and think about, okay, what are people behind, a few steps behind me, like, struggling to achieve this? And then I
Mm,
use that result and educate people on how they can do that as well. Like, what steps did I take to get there myself? What are
okay.
my unique strategies that got me there that you can also learn from? And I think that what it really comes down to, like, my content, I try to make it as personal as possible, like coming from my own experience and injecting personality and my own
Yep.
experiences as much as possible. Because when you always leverage what you have achieved and what you have done for yourself, you will never run out of content ideas. And I think that the most common issue that people make when creating content is trying to, like, make Wikipedia posts, like, general knowledge, appealing to general audience, like a broad
Yep.
market, and just giving out regurgitated information. And it's never really resonated with
Yep.
me, because in my journey, I realized that what does my audience really want from me, and what do I love talking about the most? How about I combine those both and see what my audience loves? And clearly, my audience loves, like, my personal stories and the results that I've got for myself. And my audience loves me educating everybody else on how they can achieve it as well. So it also comes down to, like, feedback, a lot of feedback. Like, analyze your posts. I analyze my content a lot. Like,
Yep.
every day I check, like, how the post that I posted yesterday, how did it perform and why did it perform? in such a way? Like, was it the hook? Was it the ending? Was it the body? Was it like the mindset element to it? Was it my philosophy? What are most people commenting under that post? If most people are commenting
Oh, right.
like a certain pattern and it keeps repeating itself, then that means like everybody really resonated with that like philosophy that I put in the ending, for
Mm.
example. Everybody resonated with the hook. For example, I put out a post that said, I don't come from a rich family. That hook did insanely well,
Mm.
and everybody in the comment section was like, yeah, me neither. Like, I don't come from a rich family. Like, think about how can your audience, how can they relate to your story? How can they relate to your post? And
Mm.
I try to make my content as relatable as possible, because if people cannot relate to it, like, they're not going to read it. And why did that post perform so
Yep.
well? Because I realized that this struggle, like my background, like where I come from, it also speaks to so many other people on this app. And I just talked about my own origin story. And what it really comes down to is leveraging your own unique background, where you come from. Talk about that. Like, talk about what you
Yep.
already have done. Talk about what you already have. You don't have to think about anything new. You don't have to reinvent a wheel, because people want to see the type of person you really are. And the way that you can show the type of person you are is by talking about the experiences you've had in the past and the results you've got for yourself, where you come from, and really just showing your personality. And I've
Mm.
also always emphasized this. Storytelling has been the best way to grow my account, because it injects so much personality. It is so relatable, and people gain so much insight and so much knowledge from reading transformational stories, for example.
Yep.
Because I believe that nowadays everybody is just copy pasting everyone. Everybody's copy pasting
Mm.
like viral frameworks. Everyone is copy pasting the next viral hook.
Mm.
And guess what? People have built their tolerance to that, and it doesn't stimulate the readers anymore. Everybody's tired of seeing the same numbers again, like talking
Mm.
about vanity metrics. But if there is a way that you can make it more like interactive to the readers by making the post more interactive or like relatable, and by
Mm.
injecting personality and sharing your journey and talking about the failures and really showing your mindset, then those posts become more valuable, because people see that you're there actually providing like authentic insights. You're not trying to be
Mm.
somebody you're not writing the post because it is a viral framework that is working.
Yep.
You're genuinely writing the post from your own insight, from your own POV.
Ooh.
So that is how I approach my content. And every day I just sit down and I really try to think, okay, what has my audience enjoyed reading from me? Is it personal stories? Is it me talking about my band account? Is it me talking about mindset? Okay, I now have that feedback. I collect all the data, I collect the feedback, and now I think, okay, what is something that happened recently that can benefit others, or something that is so interesting that may relate to my readers? And then I write a post, and then I start writing about something about my results, for example, and then I try to give actionable advice and share my journey and share that this is the mindset that helped me get here, for example. And just, it all comes down to also how you collect feedback from your past performing posts.
Mm.
So one day, like one post a day would be just me educating my audience, like giving away like some type of value or insights. And then the other post, it would be like the first post would be like a short form, and then the second post, I guess you could call it like a platitude.
Okay.
But I know that platitudes have bad reputation, but I really like them because you can express your thoughts and opinions in just a matter of like a few lines, and that's it. You don't have to elaborate on
Yes,
that idea. And when you really write a platitude post coming from your own experience and like your authentic opinions, then there's absolutely
yep,
nothing wrong with that. And the
I
reason
totally
why
agree. Yeah,
platitudes, yeah, like I think platitudes get so much hate because everybody's copy pasting them. Everybody's copying pasting like viral frameworks. So like, stop doing that. Just
mm,
how about you just write your own thoughts down and post
yeah.
that,
Yeah, and I think it's also
and that's
become
it.
kind of a trend to hate on platitudes, and I think everyone's just parroting the same thing. But platitudes and very short form tweets, they definitely have their use cases, especially when it comes to driving engagement. Um, and I totally agree. Yeah, I mean, platitudes are platitudes for a reason. They're true. But yeah, okay, thanks for that breakdown. That was very insightful. Um, One question I had about that was how do you collect feedback? So you mentioned scrolling through the comments. You mentioned how the post performed in terms of numbers. Are there any other metrics or things that you measure and that you use as feedback?
Yeah, I do. One is just looking at how well the post performed. I look at the impressions, and then the second thing that I look for is impression to impression to like ratio. Like how
Mm,
likable is the
mm,
post, for example.
yeah.
You would ideally want to look for 10 likes per 100 views. So like 1 like per 10 views.
Mm,
And the most engaging posts usually get like a higher ratio. For example, you get 100 views, but you get like more than 10 likes. So that is a good sign that the post is extremely valuable. It's extremely relatable. The post is extremely engaging, and usually that means that the hook was written extremely well.
yep.
And that is one thing that I look for. It's also the engagement rate, just like that. And then I look at the comment section, like how commentable is the post? Like, are people, and what are people really saying? And how long are the replies that they're leaving? And what are they really saying? And then I think a lot of people neglect replying to their comments. And I think
Mm,
everybody should talk to their audience. Everybody should nurture their audience. Everybody should talk to their
definitely. Yeah,
followers because guess what? They're the people that are driving the engagement. So how
exactly.
about
Yeah.
you appreciate that and show some like appreciation and say that, just give it a reply. Just make them feel seen and heard, because
Mm,
nobody wants to leave a comment and feel like, oh, this person didn't even read my comment. This person didn't even like reply back. So replying back to comments and reading through the comments and really just watching what are some of the patterns that are repeating themselves in the comments. What are people generally talking about in the comments? And that is like the first sign that, okay, the message was extremely clear. The
mm,
takeaway was extremely clear. How about I double down on that next time? Oh, clearly people liked my mindset,
yep.
this mindset philosophy that I injected. So people are commenting that. And that is pretty much how I look at, collect some feedback from my posts. I analyze my posts like that. However, I just believe that you can get extremely well performance with your posts if you just stay consistent
Mm,
to one type of post, so your audience just keeps liking, keeps liking. Like if you post long forms from now and then and your long forms always perform like pretty great, how about you just double down on that and like
yep.
maybe that is your unique angle and maybe you should do
Mm,
more of that. And that is also what I did with my own content. So when my content, for example, wasn't performing that well, I took a look at my tweets and I took a look and I thought like, okay, My audience clearly doesn't like the way I've written this post. My audience doesn't like the hook. It's maybe too long. Okay, now I have all this information, and how about I don't create content like that anymore, and I stick to the foundations of what has worked in the past.
Mm,
And I think a lot of people really overlook just analyzing their content because
definitely.
it is a game changer. And whenever my content suffers or I'm experiencing some type of like low performance,
Yep,
I immediately realize that it is my fault. So let me
definitely.
analyze my
Yep.
content. What did I do wrong? And let me understand why it didn't perform as well as I thought. And it is really just taking responsibility for your content and not blaming the algorithm for it. Oh, the
Yeah.
algorithm is like performing so
The
low
most
and
common
that's what I
mistake.
cut.
Yeah. I have one question when it comes to that. Um, do you look at the types of people who are engaging with your posts? Because I found it for myself that oftentimes the posts that made me the most money, that got me the most inbound leads, weren't necessarily the ones that were the highest performing ones. It was more that the people commenting on those posts or the people liking those posts were of, let's say, higher quality or more qualified to buy from me. Do you look at that in any way?
Hmm. Yeah, I do. I do think about, let's say I will put out this type of content. I will put out this type of post because I know that it will target just one specific person, and if
Mm,
they read it, it is going to be more valuable than having a bunch of impressions and
yep.
pleasing a bunch of like low quality leads that are never going to buy from me anyway. And these I call like high quality posts, which mean that you talk to one person, you address one specific problem, and you give out one specific solution. This post may not be the sexiest to read or the most like impressive, but it is going to be so
Mm,
extremely valuable to that one person who needs to hear it, and
yep.
that person is going to sign up with you because they see that you understand their issues. And these posts are usually not the most like highest performing ones, but
Mm,
in my own experience, I've signed a client from a post that did extremely well, got like over 300 likes. So maybe there is some potential and, some correlation between the
yeah.
views and how well written the post is, and like do you add a CTA in the end, and how do you like funnel that traffic, how do you make them
Yep.
take action.
Okay, so I get you.
And
Yep. So it appears that you have a balance between, targeting that one specific person, but also making it broad enough to get more new people to see your stuff, get that traffic, and then eventually one of those people is going to be your ideal client. Okay, interesting. Thank you. Um,
yeah,
yeah, you wanted to say something. I didn't mean to cut you off. Okay,
no,
great.
no, you got it.
Um, you're traveling right now. We talked about this. You're in Colombia, and I've recently been to Thailand, doing my own digital nomad thing. One challenge that I've had there is that the landscape is so beautiful, the beaches are so beautiful that you get very easily distracted. And I found it very hard to make progress in my business, and kind of lock in or, you know, move on needle moving tasks because there was just so many distractions. How do you deal with that? That's something I'm personally very interested in because I plan to travel the world as well in the future.
Oh, I believe Thailand can definitely be so distracting as a
Definitely.
digital nomad. It's just like a paradise.
Exactly. Yeah.
But speaking of Colombia, it's so extremely beautiful and it's sunny all the time. But I live in a city that like doesn't have a beach, so I'm not sitting by the beach every day, like sipping cocktails or enjoying the sun and relaxing. I'm pretty much in a very like developed city,
Mm.
and where I live, it's a bit westernized,
Which
and
city is it?
it's Medellin.
Oh, okay. Nice. Cool. Yeah, big city.
Yeah, yeah, and I imagine, yeah, it's like pretty big, like bigger than I
Yeah.
expected. And I imagine if I was sitting on the beach, it would 100% be difficult. But I think, thank God, that I am. sitting at home and, working and finding myself, like putting myself in situations where I don't get distracted. So how do I balance the both is I just go to a cafe every day and I work from the cafe
Mm.
and I just log in for a couple of hours and then after that I go to the gym. I come back home and then I, relax, do some more things. Like I love to stretch, I love to read, I love to journal, I love to
Mm.
go for walks. I love to getting some more sun sometimes. So I've
Yeah.
gone for some runs. So it really is an advantage that I live in a city that isn't too like
Yeah.
tropical, like it doesn't have beach. Yeah, that is like what my usual days look like, and it's just home and cafe for me. Home and cafe for me all
Okay.
the time because I don't really come here for like travel that much. I come here to, sometimes explore on the weekends, but on work days, I just lock in and go to a cafe, really just
Mm.
put in my AirPods, lock in all distractions, and yeah, just lock in. And only on weekends do I take some time
Okay.
off to relax because usually my days now are a bit more busy than they used to because now I have a
Mm.
community and I have more calls during the week. So now taking some time off on weekends is extremely crucial. I don't like to work that much. I don't like to take that many calls. Like I don't take any calls on weekends. Any calls. I don't like
Mm.
to take calls on weekends. I like to be present and go out and explore with my boyfriend and go some nice places, and then we come back and then I lock in for the week ahead. And yeah, work days are just pretty strict
Nice.
for me, and yeah, I just take the time to balance work and
Yeah.
leisure by working on work days and then just taking some time off on weekends to enjoy,
Very
because
interesting.
Medellin is so beautiful and it is definitely worth exploring. And the mountains are so crazy here. Like the
Hmm.
hills are so extremely steep here, and like it is insane. Like that is just
Crazy.
one thing that caught me by a surprise. And it rains like every day here,
Mm.
but it's usually towards the evening, and during the day, currently it's like so sunny. And when it's sunny, it is so beautiful. It's like so tropical. It's never like too
Yeah.
hot, but it's like
I'm jealous.
warm, and at the same time you can wear like long sleeves. So having sun every day is just the best thing about it.
Definitely. So you recommend Colombia for a digital nomad stay? Okay, cool. I might
Yeah,
need to check it
I
out.
would. 100%. Like a lot of other creators have been here. So like Dakota Robertson, he was just
Oh,
visiting
really?
Colombia. I think he
Cool.
might still be here. I'm not sure. I don't know, but he was just in Colombia. Then a guy, uh, Kevin Zabo, like he's also on
Oh, yeah, I
Twitter.
know. Cool.
Yeah, he also was just in Colombia. I saw he made a post about that. So really, a lot of people are here coming here as digital nomads. Like
Nice.
personally, I don't meet that many like foreigners on the street. It's like so rare
Yeah.
to see like somebody that is not Colombian, and you don't see that many like foreigners or Americans around, or Europeans. Like you don't see any Europeans. If anything, you see more like Americans, but yeah, most of them are like digital nomads as well.
Okay. That's very different from Thailand. That like every second person was a tourist. Okay, cool. Um, before we wrap this up, I want to give you the chance to talk about your community. Let's take us through the process of first of launching the community. How did that go? And obviously, what's the community all about? And what do you help people do there?
Amazing question. I launched my community about like 3 weeks ago. And at the time, you know, I failed at launching a community in the past. I had failed at that. And, this time I wanted to launch it and make it successful. I wanted to make it succeed. And I was like, you know what? I feel like this is my calling. This is something I haven't really given my 100% to. So how about I create a community of a bunch of like-minded people on Twitter who also want to build a personal brand, want to connect, that are most likely beginners, so they want some more support, or they want to have a sense of like community and they want to network with each other. So I wanted to make that possible, and then I realized that there was demand for that. And I did some research before launching my community. I kept writing my emails about my community like every single day. I would talk about my community, I would promote it, and I would create like a wait list for my community. So before the official launch happened, I wanted to ensure that there was demand for it.
Yep.
So that's why I kept promoting my wait list, and then those people that were genuinely interested in the community, I basically like sold them the community before it publicly launched, and then said, yeah, here's when we launch, and you can get it at this price if you like buy it now, and here's the bonuses. And I incentivize people really by adding more bonuses and showing
Yep.
that this is not just a community where you get a bunch of people in that you barely know. I want to make it as extremely personal as possible. So I added really an exclusive bonus of having access to me via text and having calls with me one-on-one. And I really wanted to make my community just stand out and actually like show that I care about the people inside. And then I launched my community. I got 3 people in, and honestly, like I would have never thought that I would get 3 people in. Like I never thought that it would happen, because maybe I was underestimating myself. I don't know, but I just thought, I have to, like, I just wanted to set extremely low expectations for myself, because I was like, this is my first launch, and I just
Yeah.
want to see how that goes. I got 3 people, and I was so excited about that, like over the moon. And now I am currently serving 8 people inside my community. So
Nice.
currently, yeah, I've got all my spots filled up. I have 8 people that I'm coaching inside, and we have 2 weekly calls a week. And yeah, I just really bring in more people that are looking to improve their content, grow their personal brand, and I help them with their offer creation. And currently it's going better than ever, and I'm absolutely enjoying it. And
Nice.
I think it's the best things that I've ever done for my business and for myself as well, because I realized that when you launch a community, it gives you so much opportunity to show yourself as a leader. Like it gives you the opportunity to practice such skills like leadership and management and like communication, and it really forces you to improve in those areas of your life. And I realized that launching a community has helped me become more of a leader, like learn more about leadership in general, and like that only improves me, that only makes
Yep.
me a better human. So while my students are learning and benefiting, so am I growing and learning and becoming a better person for them.
Love that.
So yeah, inside we just engage with each other. I teach people how to write content, and yeah, I spend so much time just creating the courses. Really, like building a community takes a lot of work up front, but it pays off like immensely in the long term. So you just have to be willing to put in some reps up front. You have to be willing to put in some hard work up front. And once you get in people inside, then the ball starts like rolling
Yep.
smoothly, and yeah, like things just become great, amazing.
Cool. I mean, that sounds like a very purposeful thing. Nice. So we've talked about a lot of things today. We're running out of time. I want to ask you one more question. Um, who are the people who have influenced you most on your journey, or who are the people who you respect the most in this space?
Hmm. Like coming only from Twitter?
Could be anything.
Hmm. Yeah, because my idols that I have, I guess I only have one idol, and like it's Layla Herbosi, I think. Yeah,
Okay,
I've
nice.
had her as an idol for so long, but I really look up to her because I like her mindset and the way she does business, and I've learned so many things from her, and she's great at what she does, and the success she's achieved at her age is
Mm,
unprecedented. And I just always learned from her because there aren't that many women in the entrepreneurial world. And I've always resonated with her message, and she talks a lot about just how to be a better human in general. Like talks a lot about responsibility and taking responsibility for your actions, and so much about mindset. And I love that I've been able to implement so much of her knowledge in my own business and my own life. But from Twitter in particular, nobody really, I didn't even know who Dan Coe was until like
that's
2 months
crazy.
later on Twitter. Yeah,
Th-
I was
I
like, who
think you're
is this
the only
guy?
person. Wow, incredible.
Yeah, I was like, why is everyone talking about this guy Dan Coe? Like, I didn't even know how to pronounce his last name, and that was just like it was just funny. Like everybody was like, how do you not know Dan Coe? I'm like, who is he? Like, I didn't come here because of his YouTube video. Like, you know, it took me so long to find out who it is.
That's crazy. I've never met anyone here on X who hasn't started because of Dan Coe. That's crazy. Wow.
But honestly, I think I really value the people that I have in my life, just like my family and the support that I get from my partner, and
Mm,
the people that have always supported me, and people who have always been there for me and told me like you can do this and I will help you. And really, I think just so much love that I received and support like in real life from my close ones,
yep.
that has just really made the biggest impact on me, I believe. And besides that, yeah, I guess really just Layla. I've learned so much from her, but support in real life is
Yep.
really like nothing can beat that.
Totally. What a lovely way to end this conversation. Thank you so much for being on. Cheers.
Appreciate you having me.